So as you can see, I'm mixing it up this week. I'm going to be breaking down a more sort of housey electronica beat that I made. It's got a lot of tracks and effects and automation in this one, so I'm going to try and rattle through it as fast as I can while still showing you how I'm building the track. So similar to last week, it's sort of moving out of the comfort zone of the usual lo-fi hip-hop beats that I'm making. Last week I was using new effects, but this week it's a completely new genre for a new alias that I'm going to launch soon once I've finished a few tracks for it. So yeah, I can say picking up a new genre is great for learning new sort of skills and ways of producing that you can always take back and utilize in different genres. So there'll be ideas from this and sounds from this that I'll definitely be using in my lo-fi hip-hop beats, and also a lot of the sounds from this have come from stuff that I love using in lo-fi beats. So this is just a completely new context and I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. Plus, as always, I've got another competition. So the previous week's competitions are getting closer and closer to the 300 like limit, so we're nearly there on them. Be sure to give them a like and check out those videos if you haven't already. But for this week, I'm going to be giving away a serum to one person. So all you got to do to enter is like the video, drop a comment and be a subscriber, and I will randomly pick one of the commenters as soon as we hit the threshold of 400 likes this week. I'm hoping we'll get there pretty soon, and it's quite a big VST giveaway, so yeah, be sure to comment and like and subscribe for this one. So what I'm going to do now is just carry on playing the beat a little bit so you get a vibe of the track, and then I'll jump into Ableton and start breaking down all of the different stems and tracks for this one. And then right at the end, I'll just play the full finished track, so if you want to skip ahead and listen to it, you can do. So yeah, here is the rest of the track. So this is the project file, a little bit more chaotic than my lo-fi hip-hop stuff, but yeah, I'm going to try and rattle through it. So starting off simple with some nice vinyl crackle atmosphere, my usual coffee shop atmosphere, so cutting out the low end a little bit there. And then this 4 group is the main sort of instrument group. So this is where all my melodic stuff's happening. So I'll start off with the piano. So the bulk of the piano is this one, which is the felt grand piano from the Alpha Arnold's Composer Toolkit. I do use a lot of Alpha Arnold stuff in this, but it sounds great in this context. So this has just got some reverb, a little bit of random velocity change, big compressor, which is side chain to the kick, and a bit of fresh air. So that's the main bulk of it. And then I've also got this one, which is the Imaginary piano, which is just there so you can hear a little bit more of the sort of hammer and percussive sounds of the piano, which gave it a little bit more texture. And again, another piano down here. This is again the felt grand from Alpha Arnold's, but this one's focusing more on the top end just so I can give it a little bit of saturation from the sketch cassette, and a heavy sort of radiator distortion from Sound Toys. So altogether this is the piano. And then going down the group, we've also got this, which is the main sort of synth, so it evolves as the track goes on. It's from a wavetable, which is Ableton's sort of stock wavetable synth. So it's just a sort of ambient ethereal pad sound, and I've got quite a lot of automation on this. So I mean, I'm automating volume. Everything does have quite a lot of automation in general. As the track goes on, I'm just trying to give it movement and sort of variance. So I won't go into everything, but yeah, I'm automating the volume on this so it dips in the middle of the track. On top of it, I've got an echo delay, reverb, saturation there, a little bit warmer preset, an auto filter which swoops out the lows later on in the track, decapitator, which is some heavy sort of distortion, Portal, which again jumps on later, which I'll show you in a sec, and an auto filter cutting out the low end, as well as cutting out some of the stereo information in the low end with the mid-side mode on the EQ8. And then eventually Portal turns on, so here, and it's the stock preset. It's just the default preset. There you go, default, which is giving it a sort of choppy feel, and then this slides up. So then Portal's on, just giving it that choppy sound. See, that's a pretty big part of it. Next up, we've got this, which is just a nice sort of organic synth sound, which is again just a preset from the Alpha Arnold Stratus, which I use quite a bit. So I've got this, which is in the intro, and then I've also got this, which is again another preset from Stratus, the Swarms. Next is this one, which I think is the same as that one. Another synthy preset, Stabs. This one, again, Alpha Arnold's. This one, I think I put some delay on and then flattened it and freezed it. And that's got some auto pan, so it's moving left to right, and it's got some saturation on there. And then finally, it was this, which is again another Alpha Arnold's Swarm. So that is the Alpha Arnold's set, basically. Really nice sort of texture to the track from that. I've got an acapella, which I'll talk about in a minute. But next up, I've also got this like little sort of zippy thing. I can't actually remember where I got this from. I think it was a Julian Earl preset. If anyone recognises PL Zippy 2, let me know in the comments, because I can't remember. But effectively what we've got going on here is we've got an operator, and then on top of this we've got chorus, which is giving it a little bit of width and modulation. Got an echo on there inbuilt into the rack, which is giving it some delay, some reverb built into the rack, and a saturator built into the rack. And these are all controlled by the rack effects here. So we changed the filter frequency as well as the stereo field. Everything else there stays the same. I pitched it up a full octave just to give it a sort of higher sound. And then I've also got an LFO, which is going to the attack, which you can see why it's moving here. So it just changed it from like a really sharp stab to a slightly smoother, rounder attack. As the track goes on, with this one, I'm just trying to give it as much movement and variance as possible, which is why you can see all this sort of automation that I've built up over the track. So this is changing the filter cutoff frequency. We've also got automation on the volume. So yeah, that's that. And then we've got another echo, which is making it even more sort of ambient delay. We've got a heavy compressor on there, which is side chain to the kick, just again ducking it. This is the filter cutoff, which was modulating again towards the end, gives it this muffled sound. I've got a decapitator on there for the saturation, and a limiter on there because I've got quite a lot going on. I don't want it to clip. And then I've also got this clave, which is pretty simple. I've got another LFO on there, I think. Yeah, so we've got an LFO on here with like a step setting, which is just changing the auto filter cutoff frequency, just to give it a little bit more variance as the track goes on. A little bit of random craziness. And then I've got a compressor. But yeah, that is it for the clave. And then finally, I've got this vocal. So what I've done here is I've taken a cappella, added this Houseier Than Now MIDI arpeggiator effect. So effectively, when I play a chord, it splits it up into an arpeggio, which is then in sequence triggering some of these vocal samples to play. So I can just play some notes, trigger these samples, and just play around till I find something I like. So effectively, I've taken the sample, cut up so all of the different notes play random clips from the sample, and then I've just played some random chords, and yeah, we get this nice choppy sound. I've just put a bit of reverb and a decapitator on that one, and this one again just reverb, and this kicks in sort of here. So it sounds a little bit chaotic. This is just sort of experimenting recently just before I made the video, but I think it works quite well in the context of the track. So if I solo the group, I just want there to be a lot going on, a lot of different textures coming in and out, a lot of big stereo field. And then I get the thumpiness from the bass and the drums. So on the rack here, I've got an auto filter which changes the cuts off the lows during some of the drops. I've got this choppy sweep which I use for transitions a lot in lo-fi, which is another Portal preset, Dreamy Music Box, I think it was. And that comes in for some transitions over here, which is why I get this sort of crazy transition. I've got an Ozone 9 exciter on there, giving it a little bit of top end excitement with some fresh air. So it's like a little saturated sort of thing, and fresh air giving it some sparkle on the top end as well, just a little bit, because it gets a bit sort of electronic sounding if you go too heavy on fresh air. So yeah, that's a rapid run through of the instrument group. Next I've got these little vocals which I play occasionally. That was from my last sample pack. So it's just Echo Boy, saturation from Decapitator, and a crystallizer added onto this just vocal shot that I released in the Dreamy Lo-Fi Volume 2 sample pack. So that just, as a drop kicks in, it gives it a little bit more sort of an interesting sound. So if I thought it worked quite well. Next up, extras is just some little transitions and sounds as the track progresses. These I think I got from Splice. If you search for the KSHMR, probably find the pack. Yeah, it's just that one and this little thing here. Next up, we'll go over the bass and kick group. So I've grouped the bass and the kick together. The kick is again from my last sample pack. So there's two different kicks layered. One is ML Dusty Kick 1. Another is ML Dusty Kick, which has got the low cut there. So together, just nice sort of crunchy kick. I've also laid an 808 tom in there, give it a little bit more movement. And then we've got the bass. So I've got this as the sort of core of the bass. Again, it's just like a simple operator with some compression and a little EQ there. It's sidechained to the kicks for a bit more clarity on the kicks. And then I've laid it on top of this one, which is from the wavetable. It's sort of like a square wave with a little bit of movement. So it's got the compressor, sketch cassette, which is sort of getting away some of the high end, giving it a little bit of movement and a bit of saturation. And I've cut out some of the real lows because I just wanted to sort of be the top end bass. This was one I was also toying with, but I didn't end up using, sort of more of a retro synthy bass. But that's the bass kick group. And finally, the drums. So I do want to tidy this up a bit before I release the track. But effectively, we've got, firstly, lots of layers of Foley. So starting off with this one. So on the drum rack itself, I'll talk about, I've got a drum bus, which is giving it a bit of drive, an auto filter, which swoops in and out as the track goes on for transitions and movement, a little bit of reverb, which again swoops in for transitions, cutting the real lows because it's not got a kick in there, so I don't want it to be too subby, and then I've got a bit of fresh air on there as well. So this is ML Foley 65 from my last sample pack. I've got another one from my last sample pack which comes in here. It's got a simple shaker loop which comes in certain areas. You can hear it in the introduction a little bit, and then it comes in fully around here, and that textures with another Foley kit. We've also got some hi-hats, so just sort of basic electronic hi-hat laid in with another one from my sample pack. I think hi-hat 3 from the sample pack. A little rim shot that comes in, nothing crazy, just some randomness on the MIDI. Clap. So I'm really texturing this up. I've got another low rim shot that comes in here. So that's a really crunchy one. I can't remember where I got that from, but adds a nice depth and character. This, again, is some perks from my sample pack with some delay on there just to give it a little bit more variance. Got another deep perk too. And I've got a final snare. So if I play it at a point where it's got most of the stuff, it's got a nice movement, nice depth, and there's lots going on, which is what I wanted. And then again, as the track progresses, there's certain bits where I cut out frequencies, add reverb for transitions. But yeah. But But that is it. I did rattle through this a bit, so let me know in the comments if you want me to go over anything in more detail, if you want to know where I got anything from or anything like that. But yeah, also it's different to my usual vibe, so let me know what you think of it. Do you want to hear more upbeat or different genres, or do you want me to stick to the lo-fi stuff and try and experiment with that a little bit more? Happy to do both, so do let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, be sure to enter the competition by commenting and liking the video and being a subscriber, and I'm going to be giving away serum once we hit 400 likes. So yeah, I'm just going to play through the final version of the track now in full, so you can listen to it if you want to. So yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you next time.
you.